Be honest, do you have a few goals that are hanging out there on your list or in your head? Maybe they've been there for months, maybe they've been there for years, and you just really have not made a lot of progress towards these goals. If that's you, you're not alone. And I'm here to help with a little bit of a strategy for you. Because oftentimes we feel like, oh, maybe our goals are too big, right? Maybe we made too big of goals and we're not going to be able to achieve them. Or maybe we feel like, you know what? Just life is so hard. Just the day to day of getting through all the stuff, that is hard enough. I'm never going to be able to work towards these big, big goals. But I know from experience, both in my own life and that of many of my clients who have come in feeling like, ugh, they just can't even get through the day. They have so much work to do, to really making big strides, either creating a secondary side business or making time for, a hobby that they hadn't been doing in a long time. Sometimes even just reading books in a way that they hadn't been doing in many years. Like I know from experience that it is possible to make big progress on your big goals, even when you feel like every day is just stuffed to the gills with way too much stuff to do. And it often feels like, though, that we have these big goals and they're just maybe too big, right? But oftentimes I think it's not that they're too big, it's that they're too vague. And that's a different thing, right? Because if we can make a plan for the goal, then we are much more likely to achieve it. And more importantly, a realistic plan. And you've probably heard this Saint-Exupéry quote. He says, "A goal without a plan is just a wish." And I think that's true, right? Oftentimes we're really good at defining the goal, right? We know what the end goal is, but we haven't done the work to kind of work it backwards to reverse engineer how we're actually going to make this thing happen. And so right now, I want you to think about a big goal that you have not made a lot of progress on, right? Pause the video if you need to and just think about like, what is this big goal that I know I want to do and I haven't made it happen. I haven't made the strides towards it, right? No judgment of yourself, right? Just write it down and start thinking about it as I'm going to talk you through this process of how to actually make a plan for these goals so that you're maybe able to get them done, right? So, what are we going to do? The first thing, we do want to be able to define that goal. So, what really clearly is the goal? Make it specific, make it measurable, not increase sales, but increase sales by what over X amount of time, right? Or, we're not, I mean, not that it has to be on sales goals or whatever, but make sure that your goal is really clear. Like for me, sometimes it's like I want to make a new online course and I want to make it about a specific thing and I want to make it by a specific date. So define the goal and then define the deadline, right? Now, some goals are not going to have a deadline. That's okay, but it's still helpful to put a date in there that you're kind of shooting for, right? What are you trying to do? Because once you have that deadline, then you're going to be able to work backwards, right? So we have the goal. What is it, right? Is it measurable? Is it actionable? Is it achievable? Then we have the deadline. So when are we trying to get this done by? And then once we have that, now we can work backwards. We can say, okay, great. So what milestones might I need to put in here to make sure that I achieve this goal? Like what are the phases that I need to put in here to achieve this goal? What are the actual steps that I'm going to need to take to meet those milestones, right? When am I going to need to take these steps to meet these milestones? Like when is it actually going to fit into time? Time block those things, right? Because I want to give you an example here. Like think about it like let's say that you have a goal to run a marathon, and let's just say I do run, but I don't have a goal to do a marathon. Maybe you do, right? But let's just say you have never run more than a 5K and you want to run a marathon. You're not just gonna hope for the best, right? You're not gonna be like, okay, well, I want to run this marathon and it's next January, and so I'm just gonna keep running and hope it works, right? No, you are gonna say, okay, great. What do I need to actually do? Maybe you're gonna go to ChatGPT and you're gonna say, okay, give me a running plan to get me to like work up my stamina and my strength so that I am actually able to run a marathon by this date, right? You're going to work it backwards. You're going to make a plan. You're going to say, okay, how long do I need to run? On what days am I going to run? You're going to make a plan so that you're working up towards that goal so that when you're running the marathon, you're not coming from same old to marathon in one day. You have worked your way up. You've gone longer and longer runs. You've built your stamina, etc. That's a goal, and you've built a plan backwards to make it happen. And the same thing can happen with any of your other goals, right? So let's kind of recap what we want to do. So we want to define the goal. We want to define the deadline. We want to then work backwards. We want to define the milestones. Then we want to define the actions, the tasks, the things that we'll need to do to meet those milestones. And then we want to say, when are we going to do that stuff? That's really important, really important. Maybe the most important thing. When are we going to do the stuff, right? So maybe it's putting those things into your task list. Maybe it's blocking the time for those things on your calendar. Maybe it's both. Right? Sometimes when I have a really big goal and I don't actually know what all the steps are going to be yet, maybe I only know the beginning part, I will still block a bunch of time on my calendar out into the future to save time for, protect time for the eventual steps that I will need to make this thing happen, right? And if you're looking at your calendar, if you're looking at your life, if you're looking at your task list and you're realizing, I don't have the time available to get this done by this deadline that I have here, then you might have to think again, you might have to say, okay, maybe I need to extend the deadline. Maybe I need to achieve this goal a little bit more slowly. That's okay, right? We just want it to be realistic so that we don't lose faith in ourselves, so that we don't lose all motivation, so that we don't feel really demoralized by our lack of progress. We want to map to the time that we actually have available. Now, another thing can happen if you're trying to do too many goals at once. You may say, oh, I don't have time for any of this stuff. That's okay. Stop doing some of them, right? Do it more sequentially. Pick one big goal to work on right now instead of spreading yourself thin. But the thing we need to do is we need to make sure that it's not this vague pie in the sky. Here's this thing I want to do. And instead, we have a tactical, practical, realistic plan that fits into our life, right? We don't want to have something sitting out there saying, run a marathon, get towards running a marathon. We want to be able to look at our calendar, to look at our task list and say, today I need to run 5 miles, right? Or today I need to run 1 mile. Or if you're starting from nowhere, today I need to run half a mile, whatever it is, right? Whatever that goal is, you want to be really specific about that plan so that you have a much higher likelihood of actually making it happen.
Hey guys, video editor here. Just want to say thank you for watching the video, and it'd be a big help if you guys were to subscribe, because only about 20% of the people that watch our videos are actually subscribed.